Okay, so I hate this stuff, PL300, but it's a necessary evil. But one trick is when you lay it, is you press it in and then you lift it off again so the air gets into the glue. Otherwise it forms a membrane and it doesn't cure right. So it's put the glue down, stick the foam to the surface, lift it away so it all kind of coagulates or strings out, and then push it back in. And then you'll get a good bond. Okay, so I just want to mention, you know how I've spoken about little funny anomalies when we're just, going at it, like a beaver, right? I just added this little chunk in here just because I didn't want to waste celluclay to fill that large gap to feather this fascia into the perspective, the slope here. But, I come back and look at it from this angle and I realize, this would be a nice little viewpoint. I just realized that. Like, that just made me think. I probably wouldn't have thought of that. But now I'm going to have maybe a little bit of a rock face here in the beach. And then this will be kind of a little sort of viewpoint because it's right at the very end of the layout, looking at the barge slip kind of thing. So that little things like that, that are kind of cool, that help stimulate our creativity, right? How's everybody doing? So this area here is pretty skinny for space. So, and it's going to be all overgrown with blackberry. So there won't really be, there's some rock in here, but there won't really be any real visible details in here because the barge slip fits in pretty tight here. And just because of the compression, the lateral compression, I had to apply to the composition of the model itself. All right, remember we talked about compromises. Anyway, this celluclay is great for closing things up. I love this stuff. You can drill it. It dries pretty hard. It's amazing. It's just paper mache, but it's been around for 50 years, this stuff. Celluclay, as it is. They have different names for it now, but I think a lot of you are familiar with it. Okay, so I just want to show how I do the overhang, that sort of rooted sort of turf overhang from module B. Somebody had mentioned, you didn't show how that was done, and I promised that I would show that part, so I need to add this in. So you can see that the main slope is just built up with a thin layer of cell clay, or in this case fast mash. So what I do is I just build up a little bit of a ridge like this, okay? Now this cell clay, you can make it to whatever consistency you want. I like it so it's not too wet, but not too dry, so it's sort of gummy, okay? All right, so I build a bit of a ridge like that. And then I just push it down, see? Like this, with my finger underneath. Just work it over. Just keep pulling it out like this. It's very pliable, this cell clay. See how it sort of feathers out now a bit? You don't even really need a tool. You can, things like this, like tools like this, you really don't need, you can for this, you can kind of manipulate it, but you're almost better off with your hands. Like our hands alone are the best sculpting tools there is, right? So yeah, so just keep kneading it like that, okay? And then if it gets too sticky, just add a bit of water, but you don't want too much water because then it won't. So this is what I do. I take a wooden tool like this or a piece of bamboo, and I just pull some away. But try to keep a bit of a space underneath. Okay, see? So see here how we knead it, pull it, feather it out with your finger. Don't worry if pieces fall off, that's what you want. You just sort of pull it away, so the bulk of it's up here now, right? See how that's... And just move that clay back into the bucket or further on down. Sometimes the best tools are just a piece of wood, like a stick. See? Just keep pulling it, tearing it almost. All right. So just to finish up on this overhang and turf sort of riverbank washed out look, is you start a bottom line. When this stuff starts to kick, if you get a fan, it helps quite a bit. What you do is you just take a tool like this and you work it underneath and you pull it onto the tool like that. Okay? And then you pull away like that. See? The more gummy it is, the better. See? Watch up here. Push it back on. And then pull. See? So push it back, push it back, push it back. Feather it with your finger over top. And then pull. See? You want it, like it starts to get gummy, you got to stay with it. Feather over top of the stick like this. Okay? It's just a little pointed sculpting stick. You can get them at the any art supply store has them. Probably dollar store too. Okay, one more time, watch. Pull the cellular clay, feather it onto the edge like a knife edge stick, and then pull. See? And then when it starts to dry, you start going above like this. Watch. You start pulling your fingers. See there? You start rolling it with your fingers. See? And just flicking your finger like that. But it's got to be just starting to kick. It kicks very slow, cellular clay. It's beautiful stuff, actually, to sculpt with. I mean, it's just, if you spend the time with it, you can do incredible things with it for terrain modeling, for realistic, you know, washout kind of underbank like this. See, I want to fix this up a bit. You see that okay? I just put a slice like that. Pull it onto the stick, really thin, pull it slow. Just pull it like that. Okay?